I mean, there's this, as you point out, there's this tradition that anyone who cries at movies or shows emotion or shows fear is somehow less masculine.
They ended up being quite commercial movies, successful, meaning that they communicate.
And I think what people are understanding now is strength isn't being a brick wall.
Which I guess I haven't had a film that really communicated that well for a while.
Ready to share your vulnerabilities and still being confident and strong enough to listen to others, to learn from others, and to engage fully with a total range of emotion.
I guess there was nothing that really inspired me that much. I was doing a lot of other kinds of things that had very little to do with my career.
So as I look at how I'm trying to raise my two sons, I want them to see a dad who cries at dumb movies.
I don't see my life that way so much. It's more of this kind of everyday, moment-to-moment interest that I find is more appealing to me. But I did find when last year started that my situation in the business was certainly not as it was when I had done Officer and a Gentleman. And that,
I want them to see a dad who cries at dumb movies.
And I did feel there was time for me to make some movies.
I want them to see a dad who cries at dumb movies.
Decided, this was about this time last year, I said I'm going to do 3 movies, back to back. The best ones I find, but do them.
I want them to see someone who admits to making mistakes and learns from mistakes, and that lesson on how to be a complete human being is pretty important.
And get back in the business.
I remember arguments with friends of mine in university, and arguments about could a man actually be a feminist.
It's a very difficult character. There's no question.
There's different waves of feminism. There's all this theory around behind it. For me, I sort of set that aside.
It took me a while to come around to want to do it.
For me, I sort of set that aside. If you want to be a feminist, well, you should be a feminist.
It took me a while to come around to want to do it. I was quite disturbed by the script when I read it.
You should be a feminist.
I found I wanted to explore why it was disturbing me so much.
You should be a feminist, because if you recognize that men and women should be equal, should have equal opportunity, should have, equality.
What is interesting is none of the things he does is out of anger or malice. Malice is not one of his emotions.
You should be a feminist, because if you recognize that men and women should be equal, should have equal opportunity, should have, equality, be paid as much, and you recognize that there's still a lot of work to do in society to get to that point.
Control, manipulation, yes. This is where he comes from.
And by that token, anyone who thinks of themselves as progressive and modern should really recognize that they're also feminists.
Control, manipulation, yes. This is where he comes from.
The more we can use that word and take it back from being a negative label or a narrow label.
Control, manipulation, yes. This is where he comes from.
And just say, look, we should all be more active in promoting equality, promoting...
Control, manipulation, yes. This is where he comes from.
And not just out of a sense of goodness or ethics.
This is a 40s romantic, charming comedy.
Out of a sense of, this is what works. This is how we build a strong society.
On stage, I've never worked in this genre before in film. So it was kind of a leap into the void for me.
When men and women have a strong, equally recognized voices.
Kind of a leap into the void for me.
They were able to pierce through in a male-dominated world. It's because they were pretty exceptional.
Hollywood supposedly does best. It hasn't been done very much, unfortunately, and I've never done it before.